How are you? Welcome back, replay listeners, viewers, wherever you are. Come join us on the Black Women in Grants page right here on TikTok. I'm Dr. AJ Austin. Happy to be here with you today. Ready to talk all things grants. Trying to see if TikTok is gonna work with us. Hello, Virgo baby. How are you? Welcome back. So, come in, say hello, let's chat. Our last live, we talked about making sure that as you win grants, you keep copies of your congratulations email, copies of your application, your winning application, and copies of the grant check. Today, we also talked about the results of winning grants and what to look forward to. And that's a little bit about what I want to talk about today, in addition to things like social impact and things that you should have as part of your secret sauce for these opportunities to win money. So welcome to Black Women in Grants here on TikTok. Make sure you follow this page. Turn your notifications on for when we go live again. I would love to see you here. I'm usually live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so, today's a pop-up. You're welcome. This is for Black women, for-profit, small business owners that want to learn about grants, winning them, what to look for, what to look out for, and what to look forward to. Put hashtag FYP if that sounds like a topic that you're interested in. You know you're in the right place. Put hashtag FYP. Over at blackwomeningrants.com, I have a year-long mentorship where we focus on 3 things. 1 is reading, 2 is researching, and 3 is reviewing. This is where you research grant opportunities, you read what they are looking for, you review the application process, and then you, of course, submit it. I am so excited that we have people winning grants. We've collectively won a total of $178,550 in grants and grant-funded opportunities. Again, put hashtag FYP if you found your people. Like, I want to be a part of that number. Don't forget the hashtag, okay? Hashtag FYP. So in the research, read, and review process comes the what to look for, what to look forward to, and what to look out for. Y'all want to talk about it? I just wanted to give you guys a chance to respond in the chat because I love an engaging chat. If you're new here, put hashtag FYP. I'm Dr. AJ Austin, winner of over $63,550 in grants and grant-funded opportunities. So excited to be here with you to share what I know, to answer your questions as Black women for-profit small business owners. So, again, we're talking about what to look for in a grant. If you want to know what to look for in a grant, put hashtag FYP. If you can hear me, if your TikTok ain't glitching, if your internet is stable, if you are in the right place, even if you're multitasking, you got other stuff going on around you, yelling at the kids, etc. I love a good engaging dialogue. So here's what to look for in a grant. I am so proud of our latest grant winner. I can't reveal who she is just yet, how much she won, what grant she won, but girl, she won. We so excited. So we're waiting on all of her paperwork to be final, and then we'll announce more details. But what I noticed in her latest win, and in the money that I've won, in the money that other Black women in grants in our mentorship have won, we find grants that fit where we are in our business. So what that means is, real quick, if you're a startup business, put hashtag FYP in the chat. Hashtag FYP. If you're just getting started in business, meaning maybe your business is still an idea. Maybe it's still in your head. Maybe it's still in your journal, on your Bapuda, as my little niece used to say. Hey, Cindy. Maybe you haven't put it out there yet. You're still building on your business plan and your marketing plan and your sales plan and your competitive analysis, your SWOT analysis, any startup businesses in the house, put hashtag FYP. I'm testing the system to see if you can hear me. So far, nobody's responding. So I'm assuming you can't hear me, or you just not playing along. How does this work? Let me know. So if you have not yet launched out into the business sphere, put hashtag FYP, because you're a startup business, you're pre-revenue, and you haven't made any money yet. And that's okay. Yes, you can still apply for a grant. So I'm going to give y'all a minute, see if anyone can hear me, respond. My volume's all the way up. Nobody's talking. TikTok shows us to maybe 2 people. So it would be great if you guys could share this and get more people into the conversation, please. So let me see. Is this thing on? Is it working? Can you hear me? If so, put hashtag FYP. If you've been here before, you know I like engagement. I want to trust the process and just keep teaching, but I don't want to teach for any amount of time and y'all can't hear me. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Okay. So that means everybody else is just being nosy. Okay. So, if you're a startup, I told you your ideas are still in your head. You haven't put them out there yet. You haven't started making money yet. And that's okay, because yes, you can still apply for a grant. If you've started your business already, you're in the growth phase. That's where you are in your business. And it's going to matter what type of grants that you can apply to based on whether you're a startup or whether you started your business. You got it? Put got it in the chat. So that's one thing to look out for, are grants that fit where you are in your business. So if you're in a startup phase of your business, you should be applying for startup grants, right? If you are in the growth phase of your business, you should be applying for what's called growth grants. 2 different types of grants. Different information is required for growth grants. I'm going to speak on that for a minute, because if you've already started a business and you've been making money, they can ask in a grant for copies of your taxes, profit and loss statement, bank statements, proof that you've made revenue. They can ask for client testimonials or statements from your customers talking about the results of doing business with you, working with you, using your product or your service. If you're a startup, they may ask for your vision statement, your mission statement, your business plan, your marketing plan, how you intend on making money in addition to receiving grants. So again, it's best to look for grants that fit where you are in your business. So one of the questions that we got on our recent live asked, how do you qualify for grants? You can only qualify for grants that you qualify for. For example, startup grants, if you're a startup business, growth grants, if you're a growing business. These are grants that fit exactly where you are in your business. If you're a startup trying to apply for a higher level grant, your chances of winning are slim to none. If you're a growth business trying to get a startup grant, they're probably going to say you're overqualified. So when you look for opportunities, make sure they fit exactly where you are. So if you are an educational brand, look for educational grants. Look for the opportunity to grow your educational brand. If you're a tech-based business, look for tech-based grants. That makes it easier to qualify, easier to fill in the blanks of, here's what they're asking of me, here's what I'm able to provide, versus you going through their whole application process, getting to a part that you are not ready to commit to, because you don't have the documents or the paperwork, and then you've wasted a lot of time. Y'all got it? Put got it if you got it. Let me know that you're picking up what I'm putting down, and this is making sense so far, because this is all a part of what to look for in a grant opportunity. This is how you apply for grants that you're eligible for. This is how you qualify for grants. Makes sense? Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate you, girl. The second thing to look for is what the grant is for. For example, the grants that I have access to, the grants that we're receiving and winning over at blackwomeningrants.com and my mentorship, are grants that are private. I want to say private label, but they're like in the private equity space, as far as Bigger brands, big beauty brands, cosmetic brands, corporations like Target, FedEx, UPS, AT&T, Verizon, Chase, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Office Depot, Office Max, big corporations, big brands that we support. They're behind the checks, the sponsorships, the partnerships, the grants, the giveaways, the contests, the scholarships that we've been winning. So it's not in the government space. It's not in the nonprofit space. These are private grant opportunities for Black women for-profit small business owners. And what that means is sometimes they'll have a theme to their grants, like empowerment grants or professional development grants or business development grants, etc. And so that means that if you're at a place in your business where you could use some support, getting more mentorship, more coaching, having more accountability, more support, there are grants designed just for that area of your business versus a large umbrella of a grant that could cover anything. So you just have to know what you have need for and what you're looking for. So real quick in the chat, tell me, what type of grant do you need? Like, label the type of grant. We just said empowerment grant, professional development grant. There are tech-based grants, there are startup grants, there are growth grants, there are business development grants. Put a label on the type of grant you really want to see yourself win. We have a client, I can't wait to share her story because it just clicked. I've been knowing her for almost a year in our mentorship, and it just clicked. The latest grant that she won, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That makes perfect sense for her business. And so what that did was brought it home for me as far as us finding grants that make sense to apply to, that meets the theme of what we're looking to win a grant for, and then we go apply and have a better opportunity of winning. So who wants to put a name on the type of grant they can see themselves winning? So if you can hear me, even if you're multitasking, take a break, come to the comments and label your grant. Because what you don't know is, I'm sitting here looking at a grant that's open right now for $5,000. So I'll see who labels their grants, maybe want to get some help finding grants that meet what they're looking for. But this is an engaging dialogue. I want to welcome conversation. I want to encourage you to talk to me in the chat. I'm assuming you're here as a for-profit Black woman, small business owner who's seeking grants. And the question right now is, what type of grant can you see yourself winning? So if it's, the empowerment grant, the professional development grant, the business grant, just put a name on it because it's going to determine what type of grants you go out and find and apply for. Okay, I see a startup grant. Now, when you say startup grant, what type of startup grant? Like, is it for inventory? Is it for marketing? Is it for, what is it for? What do you want your grant to help you do? And again, this is a conversation that I won't be on here long. So, the quicker you respond, the quicker we can help you if you have questions. If not, I'm going to go relax. I did just have brunch. A nap might be in my future. I got to send out our weekly email that I sent to our mentees over at blackwomenandgrants.com. The last few TikTok lives have been super concerning because not only is it a low amount of people in here, but y'all ain't talking. So I'll be on here talking to myself, and I do that off camera. So I wanted to put it out there. So I'm assuming everybody else is just here to lurk. That's what I say. So you can name the type of grant that you're looking for. It makes your search easier when you're looking for grants. You can find the type of grants that you're looking for by doing a quick Google search. Yeah, just go in and put empowerment grant, business development grant, small business grant, startup grant, tech grant. Y'all see how this works? Growth grant. Just depends on where you are in your business. And so the final thing for today, as far as what to look for in grants, are the eligibility requirements. So if you're applying for grants that match where you are in business, whether you're a startup, applying for startup grants, you're growing, applying for growth grants, Whether you are finding grants that meet you where you are in your business, as far as, oh, I need help with professional development, developing my leadership skills, putting together, my growth plan, my business plan, etc. There are grants to support all of that. You can find them all online. I have 3 free lists of grants over at blackwomeningrants.com. For those in my mentorship program, they get access every month. The link is refreshed every month with new opportunities for you to go and read, research, and review these opportunities that are available to you. One of our grant winners who just let me know they won a grant last night or the night before, she said the read, research, and review process is what helped her win the grant. And so we break down what that 3-step process should look like, in addition to what to look for, what to look out for, and what to look forward to in a grant. And so the last tip I want to share with you is make sure that you're looking for the eligibility requirements. And what this means is there are 3 things in a grant eligibility requirements that you should look for. Put the number 3 if you want me to share what those 3 things are. We've already talked about making sure you're finding grants that are a good fit for you, going out and do a search for those types of grants. Make sure that you know what the grant is for and it aligns with what you're looking for a grant for. And now we're talking about eligibility requirements. Okay. So 3 things that are in the eligibility requirements are rules. Somebody put that in the chat. Restrictions. Yep. Put that in the chat. And regulations. Rules, restrictions, and regulations. These are the 3 R's that are built into grant requirements. So when you found the perfect opportunity for you to apply for a grant that aligns with where you are in your business, you know how you're going to use the grant, what you want it to be for. Now you're looking at the rules, restrictions, and regulations. This is the literal breakdown of the grant, how to win or how not to win. For example, in the rules, they're going to say you must be a Black woman with a for-profit small business to apply to this grant. That's a rule, right? Y'all meet that rule, right? Put hashtag FYP if you meet that rule. I'm Black, I'm a woman, I have a for-profit small business, and I'm applying for this grant. That's one of the main rules of the grants that we win. Number 2, it could be something like you have to have a tech-based or tech-enabled business. And so what that means is, y'all tell me if this is you. Put hashtag FYP if you have any of these components in your business. You have a website. Put hashtag FYP. You know how to post on social media, chat in the inboxes, hop on a live, do a story, do a reel, go in a Facebook group and get clients off social media. Put hashtag FYP if that's you. You have a process where people not only can go to your website that you meet through social media channels, but they can click buy, they can click pay, they can click register, they can click book, donate, sign up now, and it'll take them to a digital payment platform like a Stripe, a PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, etc. Put hashtag FYP if that's a part of your business. If you can pick up your phone and, again, do a live, do a quick video, hop on a platform like WhatsApp or Voxer or Mighty Networks or a platform that's built within your website, or you have a special membership platform and it's digitally based. If you have that in your business, put hashtag FYP. If you have something like a Kajabi, Teachable, like a platform where you house videos and worksheets and audios and downloadables and books and help for your clients or your customers, put hashtag FYP. All of these I'm giving you are examples of a tech-enabled business. That means that you need some form of technology to successfully complete transactions in your business and run your business from day to day. From your telephone to your Bapruda, as my little niece used to call computers. You can be on your iPad. You can be on your, what's the other, tablet. There's tech-enabled pieces. And so you'll have grants that say one of the rules to applying for this grant, in addition to being a Black woman, a for-profit small business owner, is being tech-enabled. You may not be a full tech company like a software company or a SaaS, etc. But you need technology to run your business. That is part of rules. Y'all get it? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Put got it if you got it. If this is making sense and if it's helping. Another rule of a small business grant could be that you must own 51% of your Black, woman-owned, for-profit small business. What that means is you are the majority owner. You write the checks, you sign the checks, you send the invoices. The invoices come with your name on it. The business is under your name. You make majority of the decisions. No contract can be signed without you because you are majority owner. Not a 50-50 split. Not a company where you've sold most of your shares and you're having to, divvy up everything and you're just under 50%. Grants that we win want you to be at least 51% owner of your business. Most of us are 100% owners. Some people have taken partners, and usually it sounds fair to split it 50-50, but someone needs to have majority rule because they don't want to have to wait on you to go and get permission or get someone else to agree with, yes, we can move forward with this grant or what the grant is requiring of us. So one of the rules, the many rules of grants, is that you must own at least 51% of your Black, woman-owned, for-profit small business. So if that's you, put hashtag FYP real quick. If you're like, I own 100%, I own at least 51%, I meet this rule, I can align with this, put hashtag FYP. That second R in our 3R scenario for eligibility requirements is the restrictions. Not only are there rules for who can and can't apply, there may be restrictions to grants. What that means is some grants are just simply restricting nonprofits from applying. They're like, nope, you got to be for profit. So that could be a restriction. A restriction could be if you own a franchise, you can't apply because they're like, you're not the founder of this business. You're not majority decision maker of this business as a whole. You're a franchisee. We don't want to deal with that. So no, you can't apply. They may cut off MLMs and say, nope, no multi-level marketing, no direct sales, direct marketing, whatever you want to call it. No, you can't apply. So nonprofits, franchisees, and MLMs are the ones I see restricted the most from applying for grants. They can also restrict your category. They call it sin-based businesses. You'll know you have a sin-based business if it goes against Christian principles because the USA is a Christian-based company founded on Christian principles. At least that's what we were taught in school. So they're like, if you have any business that's going to cause someone to sin, like I can't say most of the words. TikTok has banned me before and shut us down almost for calling out. So just think of, vices, anything from Vegas, you know what they do in Vegas, right? And it stays in Vegas. Any type of, y'all get it, we grown, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I need to find like the code words for this, but they tell you in their terms and conditions what types of businesses cannot apply, and they're restricted if they cause a person to sin. If a person that is caught doing this can go to jail, put it like that, then that's a sin-based business. If you got to sneak and do it, if it's only open at nighttime, if you can't be on the front page and your grandma open the paper and be like, I'm so proud of my baby for blood. Sin-based business. Y'all got it? Put hashtag FYP. If you picking up what I'm trying to put down without getting canceled here on TikTok, put hashtag FYP. Those types of businesses are restricted, okay? So they have restrictions for a reason. And we're going to leave that there. The third R in the rules, restrictions, and regulations is the regulations. Regulations are one of the most important parts. If you are like, okay, my business is not restricted, I do follow the rules of being Black, woman-owned, for-profit, I own at least 51% of my business. Now let's look at the regulations, right? The regulations are things like, how many winners will there be? For example, there's a grant for $100,000 that's open right now. I don't know when their deadline is, but I'm assuming it's still open. Last time I checked, I went through their fine print, their legalese, their terms and conditions, their policies and procedures, and it's $100,000 total. But it's about 5 people that they're going to split that among, and the first place winner gets $50,000. So they're taking half of that 100K. So it's not one person winning 100K. So you got to look at how many winners will there be. And again, the rules, restrictions, and regulations are in the terms and conditions of every legit grant opportunity that has spent time to spell out how to play their game. That's why we call it the grant game. And I teach you how to play this game in our year-long mentorship over at blackwomeningrants.com. And so not only do you need to know how many winners will there be, you also need to know how many payments will there be. There was an opportunity that I was selected for earlier this year for a $50,000 grant. And my application was selected out of 500 applications. So it was an honor to be a part of that and make it to round 2 and get to pitch further. And so when they got to the payment part of the contract, it is like, we'll give you 2 payments. We're going to give you $25K up front. And then some months will go by. We're going to check your progress. And then you get that second check for $25K. And so if I would not have read the terms and conditions, I would not know that this is how they're running their grant. So not only do you need to know how many people you'll be splitting that money with, you also need to know how many payments can you expect. Because some grants can also, put months in between payments from, they may pay you at the top of the year, the middle of the year, the end of the year. Y'all heard a third, and a third. Some people pay like that. Some people can split it and do 50-50. And then there are some grants that pay up front altogether. So there are different payment options, and you need to know what they are. And so it helps to be educated so you can set your expectations. Because ain't nothing like you setting your expectations for a certain amount of money and only half of it show up. Or other people got some of your money. You're like, wait a minute. I didn't know that's what I was agreeing to. Well, yeah, that's what you're agreeing to. You got to read the fine print. Put hashtag FYP. If this is helping you, if it's making sense, you're starting to understand a little bit more about the rules, restrictions, and regulations in these eligibility requirements. This all goes under what to look for in a grant, how to qualify for grants, how to find opportunities that you're eligible for that meet you where you are and going to help you, align with what the grant is looking to give you the money for. So if this is helping you, put hashtag FYP. Another thing under regulations that a grant needs you to know are the dates. Every grant has a timeline. It's usually about a 90-day process. So they may open applications on the 1st of the month, close them on the 30th or the 31st of that month. So they have a minimum of 30 days deadline for you to get your application in. Then there may be a 30-day period where they're deliberating. They're judging your grant applications from the vision you have for your business to how your vision aligns with the grant to how you serve your community and what you're going to do with the funds. So they're looking at your application and the hundreds of others that have applied. And then they may take another 30 days and announce the winners privately to those who they've selected to win. And then the following time frame is all about them announcing via press releases, their website, other social media platforms, on their email newsletters, and then you get to carry out your duties of the grant winner, signing your there are agreements, there are affidavits, there are not really contracts but like tax forms and paperwork to be filled out before money is distributed, because they got to do their part for the taxes and things like that, and they want to set you up to do the same if it's a grant that requires taxes to be filed. You only know if a tax needs to be filed on a specific grant based on the type of grant it is, and having a conversation with your tax person, making sure that you've reported that you won this money, and you want to make sure that if you owe anything on it, that you get that done with your taxes. Okay, but again, that's something that you talk about with your financial person. So we talked about the number of payments, how many winners, the dates and timelines, because again, applications open, applications close. The winners need to be decided on, then informed, and then announced, and then awarded. And so all of that goes into the regulations portion of a grant. So If you need a recap, put recap. I'm happy to recap for you. If you have any questions, let me know about anything we've talked about. This begins the research, read, and review process of every grant that you find. You can find grants by doing a quick search online for the type of grant that you're looking for. When I asked you guys what type of grant can you see yourself winning, what type of grant do you want to win, you can go do a quick search for that type of grant. Startup grant, growth grants, empowerment grant, business development grant, professional development grant. There are grants for pretty much anything you can think of. And so that's hopeful. That leaves us with okay, let me go see what I can find. Now I have 3 free lists of grants over at blackwomeningrants.com. I'm happy to share with you as one of our mentees when you come join us for our year-long program that's for Black women, for-profit small business owners who are seeking business grants and grant-funded opportunities. And so we have a book that I wrote for you called Finding Funding, and there's an app that'll read it to you, and it reveals the 25 secrets that I've used to win this money, how one of our latest grant winners this week has used these steps. We have Deanna Joy, who won a total of $76,000 so far just from reading the book, doing what I share with her, and then going out and applying this information and coming back with the results. She also just applied for her first $1 million grant and helped one of her clients win some upgraded Mac products for their technology. So they found a grant specifically for technology upgrades. Y'all see how this works? So to join us in the grant game, it's only $97 for a full year. The regular price of the program is now $997, but we have a scholarship. And there's a special link on the blackwomeningrants.com site for you to use to get the scholarship, to get in for only $97 for the year. It's one-time payment, year-long access, and there are payment arrangement options like Klarna and Afterpay. Do you guys have any questions for me? Any ahas, any takeaways? In the mentorship, we do have master classes, virtual events, and a 2-day boot camp that we hosted at the top of the year that really, really breaks down the foundational principles of grants, what they are, what they're not, and what they can cover for you if you know what you need in your business. So we help you sit and think through the ways that you could really use the grant to help you get to the next level. Plus, there's a 5-step grant guide. So for those of you who are just starting a business and those who have already started, there are 2 separate checklists in that guide to make sure that your business paperwork is in order as you're applying for these grants. Because like I said, it's nothing worse than spending hours filling out a grant application and then getting to a part where you're not ready to submit the documents because you don't have them. And so I mentioned how we send you 3 free lists of grants. It's over 200 opportunities on one of these lists of grants, totaling about $1.2 million on just one list. So we have a database, a spreadsheet, and a list of grants to share with us every month, and I share it with you guys free of charge for 12 months. And a lot of people are charging for these list of grants. Now, yeah, you can go find your own grants online by doing the search that we just talked about earlier a couple times. But you'll be stuck with wondering, is this legit? Should I trust it? How do I know the signs? Does this feel right? Is this a good fit for me? Am I doing the application right? Did I say the right things? If you really want to get a second set of eyes on how to apply for grants and use tools like AI, which you got to know what you're doing, because if not, you sound like everybody else, and it's picked up on for the grant committee. Let me teach you what I do to engineer these prompts, right? And so I'm on here with you guys 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on TikTok. I do these pop-up lives when I just, got extra energy, took a nap, ate, feeling good. I hop on here and talk about grants. But you can come and get your grant questions answered live, like I said, if you want that second set of eyes on your application. Nikki says, purchasing an existing business and merging with my current business, are grants attracted to this? It depends on if you're majority owner. So go back through what we talked about, being 51% owner of the business. It doesn't matter that you have partners. It doesn't matter that you purchased the business per se. If you can say you are majority owner, they love the title founder, CEO, and president. So if you carry those titles, it can stand out. And so in your story about why a grant would ask you Why did you become an entrepreneur? You tell that story of why you purchased the business. How was the business doing before you? How is it doing now? And how you're growing it. They love to hear where you came from, where you are, and where you're going. We're going to talk about that on some future lives as well. That's the growth plan, the process of getting funding. They got to see the vision behind, like I said, your purchasing, why you got it, how it's doing, where it's going, and what that means to them. So they will be attracted to a good story behind that. Plus, you knowing how to align it with what they're looking to give a grant for. And so we talk about that more in the five-figure funding formula. I always get tongue-tied when I say that, but it's exactly how to break down your story. We have a 3-part compelling story for how to tell your story to grants. I'm trying to say story so many times, but they want to know, how you got started, where you are, where you're going. And it's all formulaic. It's like depending on what part you tell them and which question on your essays on the application, that's going to help sell them on the idea behind what you do. So thank you for your question. And if you guys have any more questions, let me know. But the most important thing about winning a grant is telling a compelling story that wins grants. And we did a 3-part masterclass on that about what's missing in your stories. You have to fill them in, fill in the blanks, bring them along on that journey with you to getting here to where you are applying for this grant. I've been here with you guys on TikTok on the Black Women in Grants page for about a year. And we've done almost 200 episodes of this live. I may have lost count. We may be over 200. I stopped at 180 plus so far. But we have a TikTok replay playlist of all the lives I've done and all the things that I've taught you guys about grants, finding them, winning them, applying for them, what to do after. I also interviewed a grant teammate asking her questions about a $100,000 grant opportunity that they're looking for people to apply to. And then just sharing like how to fit grants in your schedule. Because I know life be life and we all booked and busy. Most of y'all multitasking on here now. It just happens that I'm playing in the background. But if you really factor in sitting down, focusing a specific amount of time throughout the week, you can look up, and with within a 30-day time frame, you can have so many grant applications completed and submitted easily. It cuts down on the time that you're sitting and like, I'm gonna do it. And it's like you just get it done. I told you that I interviewed Deanna Joy. Hello, Ashley Rankin. How are you? Ashley, I didn't want to drive you crazy, but I got 2 questions for you real quick while they're on top of my mind. Number 1, can you send me... Wait, no, I had 2. Hold on, my mind just went blank. It'll come back to me. 1 was... Oh, did you keep a copy of your application? That was 1. If so, can you forward me that application? Because I want to show you, you know how I am. The money in it. I want to show you how to make it even better. And, we got to do an interview. I want to interview you. So, that was another thing. I was supposed to be working on my list of interview questions for you because I know you were going to say yes. So I got some other stuff to ask you. And, yeah, that's all I can think of right now. But anyway, welcome. Good to see you. How you doing? Hey, Mom. I know she's always around. Are there any other questions that you guys have since we've been hanging out? I was just wrapping up telling you guys what's in the mentorship program over at blackwomeningrants.com, including the grant tracker. The grant winner, Ashley Rankin, completed. She, so far, at the time of her creating this grant tracker template for you guys, has applied for so many grants that she leaves the links for those that she's applied to, those that she's won. At our last announcement, she had won right at $9,000 in grants and grant funded opportunities. And I know that there's more to come. I know we have more grant winners on our roster, but I have to give them time to, come and report their winnings and me try to capture it while the getting is good. So on Sundays, I usually send out emails. I'm sitting here racking my brain as to what to leave out. plus what to include, because I got so much to tell y'all this week. So I'm over here with the screen pulled up. Hey, Mom. Okay, you'll share your application. Thank you. And I'm about to send our email for the week out soon. I just don't want to overwhelm with too much information. And yeah, so I'm going to get it done, though, at some point. But I also like to share our 3-minute masterclasses weekly. I've done about 100 TikTok videos over the last year that's on our page. And you can go binge watch them, or let me send them to you slowly, week by week. And it's slowly introducing you to the grant game as it was introduced to me. And then we've created some partnerships with incubators and accelerator programs that you can go win scholarships to, like Ashley did a couple weeks ago. Got a scholarship for, it's almost about a $500 scholarship to go through a free training for your business and learn some things behind the scene as you're applying for other grants and grant funded opportunities. So that's what's over in our mentorship over at blackwomenandgrants.com. If you got questions about joining us, it's only $97 for the year. Now that we have been up in the ante, every time Deanna comes on here, she ups us with her numbers. She updates us and tells us how much new she's won. We have other grant and grant funded winners. And so it's made the value of our mentorship increase to $997. I can't wait to offer even more scholarships to people who were like, I wish I could pay $997. I would love to get in for the $97. Can I get one of the scholarships? So right now we have 2 scholarships open on the site over at www.blackwomenandgrants.com. So if you guys have questions about that, let me know. I'm happy to answer those. We have about 278 mentees in our program. And yeah, the community, there are some cool people. Someone, I forgot what I was listening to yesterday, was a podcast though. And the person just said, my value is in my network. And that's what I realized with Black Women in Grants, because we're connected to so many other communities. Not only is it 278 of us in the mentorship, but we're connected to 8 other programs. And there are thousands of women in these other programs. And I'm in these other programs, in these communities, starting conversations, being nosy, putting quizzes out there, asking questions, having conversations. Last year or the year before, I was the chapter leader for one of the groups for Atlanta. We had 2 Atlanta chapters because Atlanta's a big city. So one was on the west side and one was on the north side. And so I hosted the one closest to the airport. And the funny part is that people who were passing through, on their travels, they could come join us live in Atlanta. And so we may start something like that back up. I enjoyed it. Our first one was a big success. We did like 3 of those meetings offline. So it took the networks offline and people came and hung out with us, talked about grants, got some help, got to meet in person, and again, just network in real life. And it all started thanks to a scholarship to these programs, thanks to the networks that we're all growing and us sharing resources. So it helps us to put faces to names versus just virtual posts, if you will. But yeah, you just completed the brand clarity training and had 7 years. Come on, that's what I'm talking about. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Make sure you let the founders know too, because they're in the back lurking right along with me. One of the communities I'm in there. I'm just being nosy. I definitely don't say as much as I used to. Just kind of stepping back and giving others a chance to shine in the community and just watching everybody grow. That's my favorite part. Especially when you guys share, what you've been up to since we last chatted or I last seen you on a training, and getting help with where you are trying to go. So I'm just really excited. Are there any other questions? Let me know. And before we go, I'm going to throw this out here because some of y'all been hanging out with me. If you had a chance to interview or ask a question of someone who just won their first 5-figure grant, what would be your number one question? Let me know, because I want to know. We got a series coming up. We have 3 people that I can recall, top of mind, who have won grants in the last few days and have reported their winnings. And so we're going to be interviewing. Plus, I got a lady who won a grant last year because I fought for black women to win this grant. And it's by a white man. And I was like, listen, sir, here's how you get our attention. And he implemented what I shared, and a black woman won. And so I asked, could I interview her? She said, sure. So we still got to do her interview, plus 3 women in our crew of black women in grants who have won, who are in the mentorship. But if there was just one question that came to mind as to someone who's won recently, because I know Neek, who jumped on here a couple lives ago, she just reported that she won the City Trends Black History Makers grant for $5,000 in February. And she kept trying to tell me, but it didn't click. And I was like, because I didn't remember that one. And so we had to walk it back. And I'm on the website trying to find her. And they laid up date. It was just chaos. But now I'm caught up. I try to keep up with what the grants are that we're winning. Because I know people have a lot of questions. And so in my mind, when one of our mentees say, hey, I want a grant, or I've been selected for this scholarship, I instantly go into interview mode. Like if I was to share their secret to one thing that they did, here's what I would ask. But I want to know from those of you who haven't won yet, what would be like your top question, your number one question, your burning question that you would want to ask someone who like literally has just cashed their grant check, or is trying to decide what they're going to do with their grant money. Like, what would you want to know? Cindy says she want to know how to get out of your own way. And so, okay. I hear you. Any other questions, Cindy? Or anyone else? Or if you've won a grant, but you can see yourself winning more. Like Deanna won 50,000. Then she won 5,000. Then she's at 76,000. Now she just applied for her first $1 million grant. If you could talk to someone like that, we've already interviewed her at 50,000. And so we're going to wait and hear about the $1 million decision. And then she's still helping her other clients win. And so if you've won a grant and you can see yourself winning more, or applying for your first million or your first 5-figure or series of 5-figure grants, what would be a number one burning question that you would have for someone who has done it, who is doing it? And I know fear, rejection, somebody mentioned depression the other day. So I'm taking notes of this because as we get into our interview series with our grant winners, these are questions that are going to be top of mind so that I can make sure you get your answers to these questions to motivate you to keep going. But as I mentioned during our time together, if you follow, this is part 1 of a 3-part series I'm going to do with you guys. And today we were just talking about the read, research, and review process and what to look for in a grant. Our other 2 steps are what to look out for and what to look forward to. And so that all goes into the questions that we can ask our people who are winning and adding to their wins. Because it adds up. Every win counts. And so just as a quick recap, if you're just joining us, we talked about what to look for in a grant, making sure that grants fit where you are in your business. So if you're a startup, applying for startup grants. If you're a growth grant, applying for growth grants. Making sure you know what the grant is for. If it's an empowerment grant, a professional development grant, a business development grant, staying in that lane of what the grant is looking to award you for. And also making sure that you're in the eligibility requirements with the rules, restrictions, and regulations, making sure that your business falls into those, black, being woman, being for-profit, owning at least 51%, not being one of the ones that they restrict because of your category. We talked about the sin-based business. And then knowing how they regulate the money, how many checks to expect, how many people, how many winners will there be, and what their time frame is for the applications, the deliberation of who won, the private announcements, the public announcements in their email newsletter and press releases, and then when to expect payment and how much of that payment to expect. Is it going to be the whole payment in one check? Is it going to be half up front, half in the middle? Is it going to be a third, and a third where they pay you like quarterly? So all of that's important when you're looking at these grant applications, just making sure it's a really good, snug, cozy fit before you apply. And so this answers the question someone asked earlier about how to qualify for grants. You got to keep those R's in top of mind. Ashley says application rules and regulations plus my answers. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know I'll be on the phone, and I have to pull up my email on my Bapuda. Are there any other questions before we go? I've been hanging out with you guys, talking about grants for almost an hour now. I'm proud of myself. But I just wanted to do a pop-up and invite those of you who want to learn more about grants to go to blackwomeningrants.com. Come join us in the mentorship. It's worth it. Right, Ashley? Right, Cindy? We might have some other grant gamers in here who are reading the book, listening to the interviews with one of our grant winners, and all of the other bonuses and goodies that we have in there. Plus, I'm going to eventually add the book that you see on the screen to the portal as well. I'm just doing final edits and making sure that it's ready to roll. Any final questions? You got like 10 seconds. Any ahas, any takeaways? I want to thank y'all for being here, hanging out with me. Thank you, Cindy, for engaging. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us. I know a couple other people were here talking earlier. Hopefully you guys got your questions answered, got some new aha moments, some answers running in your brain. I found one of my grant applications from a grant I'm hoping they bring back this year, because they had a great goal where they would reimburse you for work you've already done if it aligns with your grant goals. And so for some reason I typed in something that popped up. So I like going through my old grant applications, just seeing how my answers have grown, especially from the ones I've won, from compared to my first one that I won to now my recent one that I've won. And it's like, wow, just to see how these essays have developed, etc. So that's all exciting for me. But I do this. I love it. I enjoy sharing what I know with you guys and answering your questions if you have them. So that's why I want to jump on here and give you guys a question to chat. A chance to chat if you had questions. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't see any additional questions. So, looking through my emails. Okay, got it. All right, y'all. Well, that's all I got. Today is Sunday. It don't feel like a Sunday. So that means I'll be back here in the morning at 11 a.m. Turn your notifications on after you follow the Black Women in Grants page and set your alarms to be here. Congrats to you if you just got one of the scholarships to go through the mentorship over at blackwomeningrants.com. Make sure you click the link on the second page. That's going to let you request access to get into the learning portal where the videos and the book and audio trainings, worksheets, all that fun stuff, plus our list of grants and the partnerships that we have, all of that is in your welcome packet that you get. So make sure you click that second link on that second page after you register. If you don't get it, just reply back to your receipt that came directly to your email, and I'll get an email to let you into the learning portal and get you started today. Thank y'all for being here. I'll see y'all soon. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. God bless. Bye, future grant winners.